Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world and are watching this episode of Excuse the Beard. Today we are driving the Lexus NX350h. It is the second generation of Lexus's crossover NX. This car goes up against the likes of the BMW X3, the Audi Q5, the Jaguar F-Pace, the Volvo XC60, and the Mercedes-Benz GLC. It's quite sporty looking. I won't go as far as to call it a shooting brake, but it's really nice. I mean, it's a really good looking, attractive car. I mean, this car not only has this, it's wider and it's longer than the outgoing NX, but also it has a new spindle grille. It's got a black finish. I'm driving the F Sport model, even though it doesn't have any more power than say the regular exquisite or luxury specs of this car. It has the Sport Plus mode I can go to, so if I really want to have fun, you can have fun, and that really does tighten up the steering a bit. It also gets exclusive alloys and a few other little customizable sporty features here and there. A bit more than you would say get on a M Sport branded BMW, for example. But this is not about this particular car alone. It's also about Lexus. Now, Lexus, as we all know, is the luxury division of the world's largest car maker, Toyota. And for many years, Toyota didn't want to, really don't associate Lexus with Toyota because Lexus was super premium. They are doing it more now, particularly in terms of technology, because technology comes between the two brands. And that, I think, has been the biggest improvement from the previous generation of Lexus cars that I drove, such as the LS, or even the ES, or even the last generation NX. And that is the gadgetry on this car. Of course, I get a heads-up display, which is fully customizable. It's a very nice heads-up display. It's where I can, change the information I get. I can control my cruise controller from here itself. I don't need to really move around that much. Everything is right in front. I actually haven't been looking too much at my speedo, my instrument cluster, even though this is an all digital display. It's actually very convenient. A lot of information in this one particular heads-up display, and it shows how effective a heads-up display is. Alright, so a bit beyond that as well, I love this 14-inch touchscreen panel. It's really responsive. This car does not have wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It has wired. The wired connection is on a USB-A, but it also has a USB-C high-speed charging and a wireless charger. What I really like about this wireless charger is I can put it back there and I get more storage area. Just remember to get your phone out of the car. Really like these touches on the car. This car, feels like a mix of being at Ginza as well as a high-end Japanese restaurant. Some of the stuff, the stitching on this car is exquisite. The switch gear is exquisite. I mean, everything about this car feels exquisite. I mean, no other manufacturer, nobody else really gives you this sort of red interior. This is again exclusive to the F Sport model, but what a lovely interior. Now, of course, there are certain things about this car, and I will just pull over here to show you, which is rather unique. Let's just stop over here. You don't have door handles on this car. No, not like it. It's just, okay, I've stopped. Now put it into park, okay. Push to open, push, and okay, push again, oops, there we are, push to open. And this also has an anti-static grip. I mean, because it knows when you're on long drives and you're rubbing your bum against the leather, you might build up static, and when you open the door handle, which is metallic, you can get a static shock. Again, the gear knob is very nice. From a performance standpoint, excellent handling. This is a primarily front wheel drive car, but it can send up to 80% of the power to the rear. if you're driving like that. Again, hybrid electric motors on both the front and the rear axle. The F Sport does have one feature which is very unique to it against the luxury and exquisite models, exquisite being the entry level. That is, it has dampers, sideways dampers on the front and the rear, which make the car much more steady when you're getting into turns. Now, there are other issues with Lexus, and some of those will be answered later on in this video when we talk to Naveen Soni, the newly appointed boss of Lexus India. Naveen, of course, is an old Toyota hand and an old friend for many years. So we'll be asking him, how Lexus is going to improve its reach, and how it's going to compete with the Germans. In one way, they are competing with the Germans. Now, this is a fully imported car. Lexus is making the ES in India, which is the E-Class sedan competitor. But this car, which, as I said, goes up against the likes of the X3. So the car starts at about 64.9 lakhs ex-showroom all India, and it goes up to 75 lakhs for a model like this. And it's a full import, which is very impressive how they have managed to get their pricing right. I think Lexus, with the pricing on this car, is being really aggressive. The one thing I'd also will say about this car, and it's very similar to the Volvo XC60 in that regard, is that it is very oriented to the person behind the steering wheel, particularly something like the F Sport. Even though it's extremely comfortable at the back, it's a car designed for the driver rather than a car designed for the guy sitting at the back. It's an engaging car to drive, and that was not true of Lexuses in the past. Old Lexuses, if you remember, cars like the SC 430, I mean, they felt wallowy. They didn't compete well with the Germans. BMW was the ultimate driving machine, but Lexus has really, really, really upped its game. I mean, of course, it started with the LFA, which is otherworldly. It was a supercar. It was a carbon fiber supercar that was better than the Italian supercars. And with this NX, they've built a car that is, wow, I mean, if not better than the Germans, at least equal to the Germans. As I said, the work on the leather, the finish over here, the 17-speaker Mark Levinson system, of course, you'll see the signature DRLs, the spindle grille that Lexus has, and everything about this right now. And because it's a full hybrid, it's not a mild hybrid, I'm right now in EV mode as it's showing me. So I'm on full electric mode, not a iota of carbon dioxide coming or monoxide or anything else coming out of the rear. It's powered by a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol. Right now I'm not on EV mode. Ventilated seats, of course, synced AC controls, everything really nice, everything well laid out. But as I said, the heads-up display, of course, it doesn't show you the AC controls on the heads-up display, but all the driving information you need, and if you build in the navigation as well. Right now out here in Lonavala, you really don't need too much navigation. But yeah, I mean, this is a car I can consider living with. As much as I like the X320D as a sort of baseline comparison for most cars, this is a nice car to be able to live with. And believe me, having a full hybrid will make it much more economical. Today, of course, I have not been driving on these light, empty stretches of road with these superb switchback cutbacks, and it's been brilliant road. Not a place you'd been driving for fuel economy. But I'm getting what? About 12 liters per 100 kilometers, so 8.5, a bit under that, 8.5 kilometers a liter. petrol car of this size, not bad. I'm sure if I was on plain roads, more in the city where I'd probably be getting more regenerative power, this car would easily give me 10, maybe 12 kilometers a litre of petrol. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Keep on watching. We'll probably have the interview with Naveen either in the next video or appended to this at the end. So we are here with Mr. Naveen Soni, the president of Lexus India. Naveen has just been appointed to this role. Thank you for joining us, Naveen. Wanted to ask you, what is Lexus India's plans for 2022 and how do you plan to take on your rivals, particularly the German rivals?
It's a very exciting times for the luxury car market and also for us. Lexus has been in the country, I think by the end of this month we'll be completing 5 years.
Wow.
But of the 5 years, I think the most important thing was around 2.5 years went into COVID. So it's practically we've been given a clean road for about 2.5 years. That was a time where we were actually doing what we like to call as a brand seeding activity. Okay, we wanted the people of the country to know that Lexus is here to serve the needs of the intending buyers. But having said that, now what is happening is after that seeding activity, we want to get into what we like to call a sustainable growth period. Because otherwise, volumes don't appear. Then I think my dealer partners who have invested into this brand also have we have a responsibility towards them. We also have great products coming from Japan, crafted, it's practically manually crafted kind of products that come from Japan to us. So we are very happy to offer these for the intending luxury car buyers. And what we are seeing at the beginning of this year is that there is a revival of demand. We attribute it to whether it's the YOLO effect or whatever it is. But consumers are wanting to come forward and look at what is available in the luxury car space. The semiconductor crisis is one side affecting the demand in the sense that the supply sides are getting affected, so the demand waiting queues are getting affected. But I think to my mind, I think this is a situation that is bottomed out from a semiconductor point of view. I think we will see only better days from here. This is my personal opinion, but we have to see whatever global impacts that happen, because this is not led by India. And not only the luxury car, but the entire car market is facing the heat on this issue. So yeah. we are looking into this area. From a growth perspective, yes, very exciting times for the brand. As I said, we want to get into what we like to call as a sustainable growth period, in which we had 4 guest experience centers or places where Lexus is sold from the country. It will go to 7, another 3, Chandigarh, Chennai, and Cochin will get added in the next 2 months time period. Then we are looking at how to enhance the customer convenience point of view. How do we reach out to the further consumer in the country? With this 7 GECs, I'm covering about 56% of where luxury cars are sold. But I would like to offer the convenience to 100%. But we'll move in stages. By the end of this year, through a medium of service points and also brand experience centers, we like to go to 93%. So 56% to 93% is the journey that we'll do this year. So in India, let me speak first about India. In India, 1% of the nation, 1% of the nation's population controls 73% of the wealth. This is very much lopsided as compared to the global average. Even globally, it is lopsided, but not as much as what we see in India. Globally, is about 50%. So 50% to 73% is what we see in India. Now, this 1% is the target segment for most of the luxury car players, because that's where we find our intending buyers. In China, it's 14% of the population which is an intending population. When you categorize them based on demographics, it's the 14% that fits into this bucket. In India, we at the last count done a survey, but future is going to be bright, let me tell you that. Because the last surveys that we have seen, the super high net worth rich individuals will grow from something like 6,000 families to something like at a 21% growth to a very high figure of 1,20,000 numbers also.
And these are families with 30 crores at least?
Something like that. There are surveys that have been done, and these people they will grow their wealth, and also there will be more people joining this. You have a situation where unicorns are thriving. You have a situation where entrepreneurs are coming forward. They are successful Indian businessmen. So this 1% to 14% journey, which we have to see, will bring the real growth in the country, in the luxury car market.
Okay, and my final question to you, of course, is you also over here in the display of your cars, which we'll see, you have the UX display. The
Yes.
UX, of course, is Lexus's first battery electric vehicle. How will battery electrics, BEVs, contribute? I mean, right now, Lexus vehicles are all hybrids. They're all either
Yeah.
what you would call, not
Self-charging
self-charging hybrids, and some are PHEVs as well.
Yeah.
Self-charging hybrids for viewers is a hybrid that doesn't have a
External
charger,
charger,
external charger. So how will battery electrics drive Lexus forward globally, not just in India, in the coming decade?
Yeah, so I think on December 14th, our President Akio Toyoda made a very strong announcement as far as Lexus brand is concerned, that by 2035, all Lexuses will be battery electric vehicles. You know, so but still there's a way to go. In terms of reaching there, we have made the first steps of defining the sustainable mobility needs from hybrids, the self-charging battery electric vehicles that we have. So these are the vehicles that we have offered to the public. In fact, the surveys that we do, the reasons for buying a Lexus from amongst the customers who have preferred us, the maximum number of customers have given a reason saying that you have a hybrid. That's a fact. Second thing is, on battery electrics, yes, we have the UX currently in India. UX as a product is available in ICE form, is available in self-charging hybrid electric form, and also it is available in the battery electric form.
So the form factor is available with different drivetrain options.
Yes. So this is one fact that we want to present to not only consumers but every stakeholder, that by varying the components, which is battery, motor and controller, you can constitute any of these vehicles up to, I would say even up to the hydrogen-based cars, which are the fuel cell vehicles. They also, FCVs, also have the same components, battery, motor, controller. The source of power might be different, but battery, motor, controller becomes the core.
The advantage, of course, Lexus has over here is because you're part of a giant global car maker, Toyota, which is doing the same things for
Yes.
the Toyota brand as well.
Yes.
One last question. This is about the NX. The NX is, of course, a full import. It's a fantastic car. I just drove it.
Thank you.
How do you see the NX competing with? We'll start again. Drove the NX right now. Lovely car, but it's a full import. While it's competitively priced at 69 to 75 lakhs against its rivals, being a full import, you cannot be as competitive as your rivals. Right now, I believe Lexus India is only making the ES at Bangalore.
Yes.
Do you see more products being assembled or possibly even made in India going forward from Lexus?
See, the advantage, first correction is that, NX is available, starting price is around 65 lakhs. So,
65 lakhs.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
64.9, yes.
Yeah. So around 65 lakhs. So that is the entry level car that we have produced. Of course, it's a CBU, but CBUs versus CKD, the ongoing debate is very clear. CBUs definitely attract a higher duty structure because they are nothing but the import taxes placed by the government to deter people to not make in India, or rather, invitation to make in India is given via lower duty structures on CKD products. But the disadvantage is, unless you have that critical mass, you will never be able to reach that level. You will never be able to reach that level. So I'll say that again. The disadvantage in CBU versus CKD is that unless you have a critical mass, you will never be able to achieve that cost set-off of what you get because of the duty versus the localization increased costs.
So you need a few thousand cars at least.
Absolutely. And that is the challenge going forward. I think I've heard my colleagues from the luxury car industry say that offering more products, offering better technologies is always our endeavor. But how do you develop that critical mass? So I think the economy grows, the number of cars, luxury cars sold grows. Definitely, you will see more and more products.
So one of your rivals, now that they've hit about 15,000,
Yeah.
it becomes sustainable for them to.
Even at that volumes, I'm not too sure because it's a product by product volume. Each product that you have to kind of localize, if you have to use that word, you will have that critical mass requirement for that product. So that segment has to grow vis-a-vis, the market, or you have to have an excellent product which actually outsells the market.
So, I mean, of course, as we said, the segment is growing. Last year, manufacturers didn't have enough cars to sell.
Yes.
There's still massive wait lists. Even, I'm sure, even the NX will have a massive wait list. I know manufacturers are trying their best. Thank you so much for your time,
Always a
Naveen,
pleasure.
and best of luck with the
Thank you.
NX and your tenure as Lexus India president.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Sorry for those.
No.